This is Eric Rutan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
G'day everybody, thanks so much for joining me. I've got a chat with Paulo Jr. from Sepultura to share with you. Now the catalyst for the conversation was due to the launch of their album, Quadra, back in January of 2020, so this chat has been available since then. But I've decided to share with you, the YouTube audience, for a number of reasons. Firstly, it was an opportunity to get to the bottom of whether or not Paulo actually played on those early Sepultura recordings, and he answers the question. Second of all, I believe this is the only long-form conversation out there with Paulo. I've searched high and low, and I can't find another one. Most of you listen via YouTube, so here it is. Now here he is, Paulo Jr. How you going, Paulo?
Hey, how are you, my man?
Good.
Good.
How's the interview schedule and the promotion of this wonderful album, Quadra, been going?
Yeah, tough, but good. A lot of interviews, but it's okay. It's part of it.
I bet. Yeah, have you been speaking to a lot of Australian journalists? Well, mainly, most of your interviews have obviously been with other people, but meaning from other countries, but have we taken up a lot of the interview space, so to speak? Because, man, you got to know, and you've been around as long as anybody, Sepultura are a big band in Australia.
Yeah, well, this is my 36th year with the band, so starting up this new cycle, coming up with the new album. Very excited about, the release date. It's February 7th, and can't wait to release this thing and be able to do this, reproduce this all on the live situation. So it will be a new challenge for us.
I bet. I mean, look, the reality is though is that I think, and I've mentioned this to Derek already because I've had a chat to him. I think Quadra, and I'm a long-time fan. I need to say this now. I've been a fan since the early '90s, as long as you really could be in Australia, if you know what I'm saying, as a young fella. Back in the early 90s as I was, but I actually think this is one of your strongest albums ever, It's one of those albums that I just think, I do a lot of swimming, so it's been my accompaniment as I swim because I've got swimming headphones in, and it's vicious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's brutal,
Awesome.
man. It's so good to listen to when you're swimming. So do you feel the same way about it? Do you feel like, because I feel like the band's entering some sort of a twilight dawn, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys are just getting better with age.
I believe so as well. It's something that the fact that we use ourselves, our career, to inspire, to bring all the elements, and I believe all this mix of the Sepultura career it's right there on the new material. We have the trash, from the trashy side up to the Machine Messiah side of the, I think we bring a little bit of the whole history of the band, and it's a very unique record. It was a very hard task to record, to really reproduce that in the record. But at the end, everybody is very happy, and the band is in a very a special moment in our career, not only professionally as musicians, but as friends as well. So, and I'll be going back to Brazil next Monday to start your rehearsal and preparing the whole thing to kick in the North American tour first, and very happy. It's going to be a lot of work, but at the end, it's going to be worth it. So I'm looking forward to do this once more.
Yeah. Nice, brother. And look, it's got to be said, like you've been there the longest. You were right there, man. You're credited as Paulo Destructor Jr. bass guitar way back in, what year was that? 1985 on the EP Bestial Devastation, man. Man, you've got to know. Sorry, you go, but you're going to say something, you go.
No, it was 85, not 95.
85,
no.
There you go, yeah. But that's the thing is, mate, you've got to know that Sepultura's catalogue is just revered. I mean, like I said, I first got into the band in the early 90s, and you were the biggest heavy metal band in the world back then. You know, Metallica were doing their bullshit thing and the Black Album, and people had sort of tuned out from that scene, the thrash scene. You know, Megadeth was still doing Countdown to Extinction, I think it was. But then you guys, man, you guys are right at the top of your game. But my question is, did you think, you know, almost... 35 years later? Can you believe that? 35 years later, after Bestial Devastation was released, you'd still be here playing brutal heavy metal for the masses.
I never could thought about that, but I feel very happy to still be here and around, you know, and to be able to be through all the phases of this band, you know, and it's a very unique feeling. You know, I'm very blessed person. I can say that, you know, to be able to do what I like the most, you know, is to play on this band and be able to travel to see the world and, you know, play music for the people that appreciate, you know, our music. So I think that's the biggest compliment a musician or a band member can have, you know. It's, you know, to be able to go on the stage and see and share that and see everybody's smile face, happy face at the end of the night and going home satisfied. You know, that's the main.
Yeah, you're
thing
great
for
that
all
way.
of us.
Yeah. You've always looked like you've had so much fun up there on stage. I saw you guys a couple of times in the 90s, but I really remember that performance when Derek came into the band because, yeah, as I say, mate, Australia is, I feel, one of your biggest territories, and I think for Derek to be received as well as what he was back then must have made you guys feel great.
Yeah, it was not easy, you know, to replace. I never said replace, but to fill in, you know, someone else's shoes, you know, after what we achieved back at the time. So, and I knew only time would make people think differently. And Derek has been with us for 22 years, I believe now, and you know, it's a long ways. You know, I think he has grown up through and really filled up those shoes in a very good way. You know, and I don't think he has to prove anything to anybody else. And the new record just established that's a big stamp on not only for him itself, but I think for all of us. You know.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And like looking back over your history too, so I tend to divide Sepultura up into episodes, meaning 1986, including Morbid Visions to Beneath the Remains, sort of in one era or episode, and then you got a rise through to Roots in another episode or another era because of how popular the band became. And then, of course, Derek came on board, and there's Against from 1998. And then I think things started, and then, of course, you had Max's brother, of course, in the band, Igor. And he left, I think, was it Dante was the last album that he had, so that was really another era. But I just feel like, you know, with the greatest of respect to the Cavaliers, and I've spoken to Max plenty of times, so it's no diss to him, mate, but the identity you guys are forming now and forging since the Cavaliers have stepped out of the band, yes, okay, it's still Sepultura, but it feels like a brand new band in a really good way. And what I mean by that is it feels like as though you guys are just really setting up for, I've gone through 4 or 5 eras there, so let's call this Era 6. Era 6 is just set up so nicely for you guys. So do you feel the same way as well? Do you feel like as though the band has just got it all, it's the history has still got to be written, so to speak?
I believe so. You know, like you said, all this changes. You know, and I think the really thing that brought us a new blood was Eloy. You know, when he joined the band, he's been in the band for almost 10 years now. And he brought a very new blood. You know, I'm 20. Almost 21 years older than he is, and when he came here with his new energy, you know, made us really step up. Like fuck, we have this kid, and now we have to really, start to play well again more.
Yeah.
And he really challenges. I believe that it is one of the reasons that we're so strong nowadays. He really. It is a very unique musician, one of the best drums that I've seen. If
Certainly.
not one of the best, and it really challenges us and to make us play better and give us more confidence. And the fact that for him to be here around for almost 10 years, we already know each other better. As persons, as musicians, as being on stage, so it really helped to develop, to achieve a certain level and accept the new challenge as well. I think the band is in a very peak of the career. I believe.
Great. Yeah. I certainly feel the same way. You guys are like the Simpsons, man. You're about as old as the Simpsons, and you just keep on giving. It's one of those scenarios where something from my youth just feels like every album it's new again. It's a wonderful thing. So, mate, do you have a personal? I mentioned 6 eras in the band's history there, but do you have a favourite era yourself, or is it a case you just like the whole thing?
No, I'm very proud of the whole thing, but I'm very happy on where we are at the moment. It's like I said, it's a very special moment for all of us. With a very strong record that really represents the whole Sepultura history, I believe. And it's very hard to pick one era. Since we're kids, it went through a lot of changes and a lot of different sorts of feelings. But I'm very happy and where we are nowadays. I'm very confident. I'm older, of course, but a little bit wiser as well. I believe, and I think that it's been reflecting on the music as well. Trying to really represent and not forget our past, but respect our past, but really focus on the present and looking for the future. That the moment right now it's our moment. So I feel very confident and very happy to be able to still be here and do what we do. So that makes me very happy.
That's awesome, brother. Yeah, no, that's cool. And look, I hope you don't mind me asking the next question, but I haven't seen that you've addressed this online. So if you have, please correct me. But there's a well-circulated quote from Max where he said that you didn't play the bass on the albums prior to Roots. So is that comment from Max, is that accurate?
There's Andres record Schizophrenia and Beneath the Remains for me.
Okay, that's it. But the other albums are all you.
Yeah, but I had to play live, which is the main challenge. But whatever takes to make the band happy and to make it work, we'll do it. But Andreas did the recording. I was not. I was studio scared. I'm still not. Up to this day, I still have some hard time to record. I really don't like to be in studio that much. It's not my thing. I like to be on stage and play live. But nowadays I'm much more confident, to be in the studio. But it's not my real thing.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no, well answered from the perspective that I haven't seen you answer it the way you just did then. So thank you very much for doing that. But because I'm a bass,
no problem.
And I'm a bass guitarist as well. So I've been playing bass for God, I hate to admit it now, but it's almost 30 years. And
wow. Cool.
So it's been a long time, man. And I've got to say, you've been an inspiration insofar as I saw the videos back in the day, and yourself, and like my era was Faith No More, you guys, Primus, the greats as I like to term it. The early
some
90s.
Good bass players there, definitely.
Man, between the three of them and Billy Gould, holy shit! One of the first times You go, mate. Yeah, you're right.
No, he's awesome. He's despite he's been a good friend as well. He's a great musician.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Very unique. Very unique.
I've got to say one of the reasons I got into Sepultura because I was a massive Faith No More fan back in the day. Billy Gould's one of the reasons I started playing bass was because I think he was either wearing a Sepultura t-shirt, or he was talking about Sepultura. Which is so important though, isn't it? I think Mike Patton did the same thing. Of course, he appeared on Roots as well, and he was wearing a Sepultura t-shirt I think a couple of times, or talking about the band. And it was really important for me as a young fella to hear the bands that I really respected give a cosign to another band.
Yeah, it's nice, man. To be able to, we had the first time that I saw Billy too, and I was on the video clip Falling to Pieces.
Yeah,
he had the Sepultura shirt. I was like, holy shit, look at that! And then we were able to meet them, and became friends. Now we very, good friends, and for the past, and we respect each other. We respect the music. And we exchange ideas. Like you said, Mike already did some collab with us in many different ways. Came to play.
There you go. Yeah.
And came to play with us live in different situations. And it's good, to have such a strong and influential band as Faith No More is. To really. Being fans of the Sepultura, it's a very unique feeling. So, but we have many friends in the music, and we respect each other, and it's part of the thing. So, but Billy, like you said, he's a tremendous bass player. Very unique, very unique way of playing the bass and writing songs. So he's amazing.
Look, I'm going to backtrack a bit, and I really, again, I hope you don't mind me asking this question, because I know for a fact Andreas and no doubt Derek is fed up with answering the question about it, but I'm asking you personally because I know what the band's attitude is toward a reformation with Max, and I well understand it won't happen, and to be honest with you, I'm glad, because I think what you guys are doing now is magnificent. But between you personally and Max, has there been a lot of contact in the last sort of decade or so?
Not at all. None. Zero. We just, separate. Each one of us went to its own path, and I don't know about the future, but right now, it's I don't like to force a situation that's not there anymore. So, and if one day it comes to terms, and it has to come naturally, so far that hasn't been happening. So, but I really don't bother and think about that too much anymore. That was 20 years ago, and I just keep going. It's you cannot make everybody happy in this world. So I just the best that you can now, and to learn from your mistakes and keep walking and try to do better in the future.
Yeah, look, I think it's what I say to people who sort of still sort of harp on about it is that, do you think Megadeth would have happened if Dave Mustaine didn't leave Metallica? And look, I think Soulfly is fantastic. I think what Max done is great, but I think what you guys have done is great too. So because of the split, when Max left, we've got these two wonderful heavy metal bands. Isn't that what it's all about as fans? Because Derek has done such a magnificent job. In some ways, he's done a job that Max could never do with the band.
Yeah, of course. Derek is a very unique singer. He can really sing. He's a American black man. And those motherfuckers can sing.
Indeed, absolutely.
They know, and he really brought a new approach on the band, as like Eloy as well. He's a very unique drummer. He's a very technical drummer, so those two guys, really make the difference. You can, and of course me and Andres, we're there for many, many years, and we old, and we know each other for a long time. We're like brothers, Indeed. And the combination of four of us, it's what it is, making this very unique music nowadays. And it's good to be here. At the end of the day, I'm very happy. I'm doing this, and I'm still happy with what I'm doing. I'm still happy with the band, despite of all the formations. And we this lineup represents the band, respect the whole history of the band, and we're not there to hide our past. We're just here to respect and play the music and try to be the best that we can. And I think we are achieving this with this new record.
Yeah, agreed. Massively agreed. And mate, I'll just do a time check. Have you got an interview in a minute's time or so, or can I just ask a couple more questions?
No, you go ahead. You can do it more. No problem.
Mate, because I'm a bass guitarist, I've always been fascinated with a professional guitarist such as yourself, the gear that you use. Now, I read an interview just before we got onto the chat, and you're using Zon bass guitars, man, and of course Billy Gould. That's how I knew Zon. So how did you get onto Zon? Because they're magnificent instruments and you play them so well.
Because of Billy. He's the one that introduced me to Zon.
There you go.
Yeah, the Zon is based in San Francisco, and Billy lives in San Francisco. And back at on the time I was using the Alembics, and
yes, I saw that.
It was back on the KOZD. And one day Billy comes to me and is like, dude, you need to check out this bass. This guy is building some very unique bass guitars. You should check it out. And I came to meet Joe Zahn, and he let me borrow one of the basses. So like, just bring this on the road with you, try out, see if you like it, and we can make adjustments for you, do whatever you like. And I've been with since for over 26 years now, I believe, And they are very unique instruments. The Joe Zahn is an amazing guy. He's an amazing luthier. And every single bass that I have is very personal. It's a very unique instrument. And I love them. They sound great. Despite what we do on the studio, recording with different instruments, but that's it's a totally different world. I didn't use any of my pedals that Ian's had a different approach, but but a combination that I use the Zone basses nowadays with the dark glass.
Dark glass, okay,
pedals,
gotcha.
Some mixture with the MXRs. I have Dunlop as well, and there's a bunch. Right now, I cannot really tell you what I'm using because I'm switching everything.
You're switching.
Around.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
Because I just got a new pedal board from Voodoo Lab that I'm trying out to see if it's gonna work. But I'm still gonna use the dark glass stuff. But I just got some different pedals that I'm trying out. Trying to do a different approach for this new touring. Just trying to keep the same style of sound that I have, the distortion clean, but trying to approach it in a different way to use the wah-wahs and some of the effects and all the other stuff. But I really don't know what I'm going to be using. But I'm going to still stick around the same brands that I've been using for years. But definitely the Zone basses are going to be there. He's ready to I've been talking to him there's a new bass that he hasn't put out yet on the market that I really want to try. And I've been talking to him like, dude, I need that bass. Come on.
I'm kind of curious though, because my dream bass, I must say, is I love Zon, by the way, of course, like for all the reasons that you mentioned, but Alembic, like Status, the bass that Mark King from Level 42 uses, just that slap, because I play a lot of slap bass, so that that sound there. Did you find that when you played the Alembic, it had just gnarly slap sound?
No, yeah, the alembics has been on in a many different styles of music. It's just such of great instruments like the Fenders, like Warwicks, like like the Spectors, Sadovsky. It's very unique instruments, But the alembics back then, I really like it because I was inspired by John Paul Jones, John Into Style, Chris Squire,
of course.
Stanley Clark, all those guys.
Stanley Clark,
King,
the master.
Mark King as well. All those guys used alembics, it's a very unique sound, and it's the basic sound of Chaos AD is the alembics.
That's really good to know.
I used two alembics to record Chaos AD, and a Music Man to record Roots with some parts with the zones.
Is that a 5-string or a 4-string Music Man? So is that a Stingray or a Sterling that you use there?
It's mine is I forgot the name. I think it's a Cutlass one. It's old. Mine is a graphite
Cutlass. Nice. Yeah, that's from way back, man.
Mine is old. I don't even use it anymore live. I just have it at home, and it's been sitting in my house for a long time. But it's a graphite neck that I swapped from Yamaha that I got it.
Okay.
And I went back to Brazil, and I saw this bass at the store, and I was like, dude, I like to have. How can I get this bass? And the guy is like, oh, the owner is either looking for a trade or money. I was like, I just brought from the United States this brand new 5-string. I think it was a TBR Yamaha.
Oh, Tobias.
TBR, something like that. I can't remember the model, but it's like I have this brand new bass. It's costs a lot of money. I'm willing to trade with him. Just trade if he'd like to. I was like, and it was a very expensive bass, and the guy's like, yeah, sure, let's swap basses. So that's the history of my Music Man. And from that, I used the zones many years to record. I have a 8-string zone that I use in a lot of details for some of the records.
Is that right? 8-string bass.
Yeah, it's double strings like the 12-string guitars.
Yeah, another one like Doug Pinnick from King's X. Yeah,
exactly. And a lot of the bass players back on the 70s and the 80s, like Chris Squire, John Paul Jones, all those guys had those basses. They use it somehow. And one day Joe's on showed me, oh, I have 8 strings. Like, oh shit, I need one of these things. So I still have it. And I did use a Machine Messiah as well to play the Machine Messiah song.
Okay, good to know.
And I did some stuff. I really I need to bring it back to the US because he needs to do some repairs on that bass. But I would really like to bring that back on the road to use different songs, especially from Machine Messiah. But but the sounds are there, forever, I believe.
Well, you really, when I think of Zon, I think of yourself and Billy Gould. That's really it. Like, I know there are lots of other players but none as in the spotlight as you two. So it's really good to know that and give it all that context to it all. And I've got to ask too, do you play, I might have read this wrong, but I read that you play DR strings. So if that's not the case, what sort of strings do you play?
I've been playing DR still for 26 years.
Okay, there you go.
I've been with them for many years. And they amazing company as well. The string sounds great. I have no intention of switch them.
They work for you.
They don't want me anymore. So then I have no choice.
Just as a footnote, because if it's cool with you, I plan on releasing this as a podcast, an episode of my podcast series. And look, I play basses of many people on my podcast know, and I've used Ernie Ball, and when I say that the pink packet, I can't even tell you the bloody gauges off the top of my head right now, but I tried to swap away from them to... I can't. There's been a few brands I've tried to swap away to, but oh my God, it felt like shit. And I could not play. I couldn't be me. And for people who don't know, strings are so important to the way a musician, guitarist or a bass player plays that without them, even your own instrument feels foreign.
Yeah, no, it's every single part of the strings are very important. When you have the support from the company as well, to be able to be on tour. And I think strings it's a very unique piece for your sound. Depends where you want to go, and for me, what's been working the best for many years is the DR strings. I used to use different gauges, but I came back to the 45s through 130.
Got 130. There you go.
Yeah,
the 5-string. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And 5 strings. Yeah, most of the basses that I have is 5 strings. I have because I got used to the thickness of the of the alembics.
Yeah.
That even when I played through the Fenders, I had to have the 5-string because the neck was a little thicker, and when you play the 4 strings, the jazz bass, for instance, it's just a matter to get used to, but the strings are very close together. But it's because the alembics has such a big neck, and the strings are a little bit more spaced. Makes the difference. Yeah,
makes a massive
difference. Makes a little bit of the difference. So I just got used to. So that's why I've been using this 5 strings, and even that I have small hands, I feel very comfortable with the 5 strings as well.
I can hear it. I can hear it in the background there. Yeah. Look, I think like I switched to 5 strings a couple of years back, and it was hard. Like I remember the switch over and having that extra B string in there below the E. It just I fucked up a lot, and I felt like shit for a couple of months. But then eventually I got really used to it, and I found that I actually can't go back to a 4 string now. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, no, it's just a matter to get used to, But when I went to record on KZD on this record as well. And back then, Andy Wallace was taping the 5th string.
Andy Wallace, there you go.
So this way that it won't rumble around and make a weird noise and mess it up with the recording. And I did, Jens did the same thing on this record as well. He was using pieces of cloth and sponge to mute the strings that I was not using on the particular songs.
Yeah,
but,
Yeah, I've heard you mention that, and you talked about how when you play in the studio, like I read an interview just before we had this conversation, and you talked about how you didn't think your arms were sort of sorted for bass playing. Is that there's a quote around that? Can you recall that? I think it was with Guitar World or something like that, or you said your fingers or your hands weren't, because you said that you were you basically said you were a very percussive bassist, meaning that you hit a lot of the strings at the same time, which I understood because you're playing very aggressive music. Yeah,
I played, this record was a little bit different, but I play very hard, sometimes the strings rumble, so on this, Jens was doing a lot of the muting, he was holding up the strings. If you see the latest video from the studio series, you can see him doing all this muting stuff, just to make it sound right and not to rumble a lot, because there was a lot of details on the songs. But it's just some tricks that you use for the studio recording, and that it's never be able to be possible to do that live. Live is a different situation. You just let everything rumble. It sounds good.
Indeed it does, mate. Well, you're an outstanding bassist, as we've just talked about. You certainly know your gear, and I've really enjoyed having the chat about that, mate. So, look, I've spoken to Derek about it, but I know you guys plan on being down within the next 18 months or so, so I can't wait to see you guys again off the back of Quadra. And certainly, mate, as you know, I'm a bassist, so you know who I'm going to be standing in front of when you guys perform eventually. So thank you so much for doing what you've done through the years, brother. It's been awesome to have a chat with you finally.
Thank you very much, and appreciate the support from all these years, and we're trying to do the best we can.
Well, you've done a great job, brother, so I really I want to express that. I want to give you my appreciation for that, because there have been times in my life that have been quite tough, to be honest with you, but Sepultura have been there. So, man, it's just good to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the support.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a conversation with Paulo Xisto Jr. from Sepultura. He certainly has a story to tell. I hope he does that one day, whether he does an even longer conversation. I'd love to do that with him. Or writes a book. That'd be great, because, you know, he might not have been credited. He may be credited on the Bestial Devastation EP as the bassist, even though he didn't play it. But he has certainly been around the band since way back in 83, 84 or 85. So the entire journey almost he has been there. Good luck to him. Wish him well. Alright, if you like listening, maybe you like reading, I've written a book. Scars and Guitars Volume 1. Go over to the website, click on the link in the banner on the home page there, and you'll be taken to a marketplace of your choice. Download a sample, you know how to do the rest. Buy it or don't, I don't mind either way. But if you do buy it, do hit me up, because I want to thank you in person. And on that note, I've got some more information about the book to share with you. Before we get to that, I want to bid you a fond farewell. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and I'm the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast series. Until next time, it's a goodbye for now.
This is Eric Rattan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew Mackay-Smith.
I've been the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast since 2017. The first musician I interviewed for the show was David Vincent from Morbid Angel, and things have just snowballed from there. In all, I've posted almost 650 podcast episodes featuring conversations with many of the leading lights of rock, heavy metal, and beyond. It just got to a point where I thought, I need to write a book about all this, so that's exactly what I did. In Scars and Guitars Volume 1, you'll read a heap of deep reveals and commentary, such as Des Fafara talking about Coal Chamber and why the band will never return.
You know, if you're a band just starting out, you need to hear me. Do not start a band with partners. Ever.
Yeah, wise words there. Sage advice, mate, for anybody.
Don't ever, because I can't go do Coal Chamber right now unless I get others involved.
Phil Anselmo talks about the episode in his career which gives him the greatest sense of accomplishment.
I think the staying power of the fans and the staying power of the songs, you know, whether it's Pantera, Down, or Superjoint, the fans remember the songs.
Alex Skolnick from Testament confirms that, yes, playing the guitar in Ozzy's band is anything but an ordinary gig. Will Silent Oz from Dimmu Borgir write a book? Pa from Sabaton gives advice to people who want to start a band.
Look at the team around you, look at the bandmates. If the guys want to be on the stage, then it's all cool. If the guys want to be backstage, then it's not going to be cool.
Current and former members of Cradle of Filth discuss the band's seminal 90s material. Read about the reaction to George Lynch and Mark from Suicide Silence's comments when they throw shade at then President Donald Trump.
We have this idiotic monster, you know, this egotistical, self-aggrandizing, complete piece of shit in there. I just can't understand how we've gotten to this place.
And yeah, we kicked a hornet's nest with Sepultura. Percussive overlord Gene Hoglan talks about recording with Chuck Schuldiner.
Chuck was always, he was very open-minded, and he was into having his musicians that were playing with him just reach out for the best stuff that they had.
Phil Campbell from Motorhead discusses what it takes to get sober. John Five answers his critics who dismiss his tenure with Marilyn Manson.
You know, my name is John Five, and Manson gave me that name, and I had some of the best years of my life in that band and learned a lot. And
we get the lowdown on Treyarch Zagtoth from those who would know, including his mother. All across Scars and Guitars Volume 1, there are moments of tension, relief, tragedy, exhilaration, and throughout it all, you'll obtain insight that I believe no one else has managed to obtain from many of your favourite artists. So treat yourself. Scars and Guitars Volume 1 is currently available as an ebook with a print edition on the horizon. Follow the links attached and download a sample. I'm sure you'll be compelled to read the whole book.